And here we are again for another end of the fast. That's right. We are at the end of our week. We are at the end of our fast. And we are doing a complete review of fasting right here. Right here. That's right. Here. And we are excited because if you are here, you have decided to do something amazing. You've decided to take charge of your health, and you've decided to do the things that you need to do to continue to be healthy over the long haul. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living, that's right, living limitless lives. We don't need superhuman strength. I'm here because I want you to have the success in your health just like you're having in all the other areas of your life, so you can show up fully for all those important events, for the family, for the friends, and for those dreams that you've been pouring into. What you need is a strategy you can trust. You need a plan you can follow, and you need the support and the encouragement to continue to show up every single time. And that's what we're here to do as we move through this rest of this episode. I'm glad that you're here. Welcome wherever you're joining me from. If you are new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. And let you know that we are excited that you are here. If you have questions, go ahead and put those in the comments because we want to make sure that we get to those as we move through our show today. Wherever you're joining us from, whatever platform, whatever city, whatever town, whatever village, and of course, whatever country you're joining us from, thank you for coming through and hanging out with us right now. So we've got some interesting things that we're going to do. I've got my monitors off to the side, and we're going to do something a little different today. But let me go ahead. Expired, and so we're going to go ahead and we're going to change that right here on the show so you can get to take a look at that. So we'll do that here in just a minute, but I want you to know that I am excited that you have come by and that you are in this space. Remember, this channel, everything that we do is designed so that when you show up, you can plug in. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You can just jump in and become a part of this, okay? So make sure that you are taking advantage of all that. If you've got family, friends, anybody who who you know or think needs to be here, go ahead and invite them over so they can become a part of this. So let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and we're going to change the monitor right now. Let me make one additional tweak here. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to make a change to that Dexcom right now. All right, so let's go ahead. Let's do this view. Get rid of the lower stuff. So I wear, as you know, I wear two different monitors. I've got one on each side. I've got let's see which one is which. So this one is a Freestyle Libre. This is the Libre 3 Plus, and this one is a Dexcom G7. And so the G7s, the current ones, actually are 10 days. And of course, the Freestyle Libre 3 Plus is a 15-day one. So right now, this one went out. So I'm going to go ahead and change that. And I usually will wear this. It's supposed to be up here somewhere. I usually wear it closer down to my elbow, and the reason I do that is because as I'm going through doorways or when I'm sleeping, when I'm toweling off, when I get in the car, put on my seatbelt, if it's higher up, then I tend to knock it off, okay? So that's my personal preference. So that's where I wear mine. And I don't really have a problem with it falling off. I know people talk about it coming off. I've never really had that as an issue. Actually, no, I shouldn't say that. There was a batch that I had several months ago, and I think 2 of those actually came off. But for the most part, we've not had any issues with them. And so I'm just going to grab this, and let me move these off to the side because I want to show you. So this is what it looks like. And we'll open the new one here in just a minute. So just pull that off, and you see the tape that's around it. That tape helps to keep it on. All right. So while we do that, let's go here, and here is my box, and we're going to open that one up. All right, let me see if I can get you a little better color. There we go. Maybe a little better. All right, and it's really a big, looks like a big screw, and you basically screw this off, and right in there is the, and you probably can't see that well, but right in there is this, yeah, there you go. You can see there's the sensor that's sticking up straight in the middle, okay? And the way I do this, and let's go back to this view, is a lot of times people will try to reach around and put it on. I find that that tends to put too much tension on the skin, and then you're putting it at an angle, and it doesn't do well for a lot of people. And so what I say is, if you make a 90-degree angle with your elbow, right there, and you find the spot that you want, and right about here, and this thing actually has a spring-loaded button. So if you when you press that button, it deploys the sensor into your arm, okay? So basically make a 90-degree angle like that, and you find the spot where you want to put it, place the sensor, and hold it. I don't pop it in as soon as I put it. I find a spot, make sure that I'm comfortable, make sure that I'm not tensing up, because if you tense up, then the muscles are tight, and so you're going through tight muscles. So basically, you want to relax as you're putting this on, and once you're comfortable, then you hit the button, and hopefully you'll hear. Let me put it over here so you can hear. Okay, so hopefully you heard that sound, and that's really the button deploying the sensor. And then I run my finger around the sensor to make sure that I can get a good good contact there. And then let's go back over here. Right. So there's a QR code that's on the sensor, and it says start sensor. Is going to say use the camera. I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to scan that. There you go. And now it says that it's identifying the sensor. It says insert new sensor, which I've already done. So I'm going to hit the button down at the bottom. It says new sensor is inserted. And then that's the code that it's using to pair with this sensor. All right, so I'm going to pair it. And it says sensor is warming up. Sensor is paired. And you see there it's going to take 26 minutes for me to get my first reading. And then after that, it should last for another 10 days. Okay, so and that's the Libre goes on in a similar fashion, but they don't have the QR code. You actually have to take the phone and scan the device or scan the sensor itself, and then of course it connects, and then you're good. Okay, awesome. All right, so I wanted to make sure that I did that today, so you can see something a little different than we normally do, And I did that at the beginning because I want that to start warming up. So by the end of the show, we'll be able to get a number. You'll see how quickly that kind of goes through. Okay. All right. And then now let's go ahead, and I want to do a check-in. Right. So whenever we are fasting, whenever you're doing anything that you are working on improving, you want to make sure that you have a way of checking to make sure things are good. And so let's go ahead and let's do that now. So fasting. And this is really a kind of a feelings check-in, right? So how am I doing? How is my body doing? How am I feeling energetic and foggy in mind and so forth? And so that's what you're seeing there on the screen. And so number one, you probably heard me say, my physical, mental, and emotional. So these are the same categories, different words, but those three are three of the top ones of the domains of health. And we've done shows where we've talked about the domains of health. And really, we're looking at the domains of health to see, is this fasting having an impact? Here specifically, we want to know, how am I doing as I'm moving through the fast? So body, heart, am I steady? Am I tired? Am I calm? Am I energized? And this morning, I'm actually doing pretty good. So I've been doing this week. This week has been one of those weeks where I've gotten good rest. Okay. So I've gotten good rest, and we'll talk about the resting here in a minute. But I've gotten good rest, and So as a result, I'm feeling pretty energetic. Often people will feel the changes in energy as the body switches from different energy sources, and they kind of feel sluggish, maybe not as energized. Maybe they feel a little bit more tired, but I've been doing a good job resting. And then how is my mind, right? So am I clear, foggy? Am I sharp? Right now, I'm pretty sharp. If you remember a couple weeks ago, I was ill and wasn't feeling good and feeling foggy headed. None of that this week. So feeling pretty good and excited about the week. And which brings me to the mood. So are you peaceful, restless? Are you feeling grounded? And yes, I am feeling grounded and I'm feeling energetic. Lots of good things going on in the family, in the community, in my life personally. And so right now, mood is pretty elated. And I got my labs back. I think I mentioned that we did blood work a couple of days ago, got those back, and we'll do a show where we kind of walk through that together so we see what those numbers are. So anyway, so all of that comes together, and it really helps as we let me back up. Let me say it a little differently. So I mentioned at the beginning that the domains of health, these are 3 of the domains of health, right? Body, mind, and mood. And when the domains of health are good, they don't just stay within their confines. They touch every other part of your health. And so if your mood is good, if your body is good, if you're right, so if it's good, then it actually shows up in other places. And my mood right now is a reflection of the other things that are going on with me. Okay. All right, so that's our feeling check-in. And then let's go ahead and let's take a look at this week's numbers. And for that, we're going to start by looking at my monitor. And let me go ahead and change back to, I'm going to change back to our Libre. Let's pull that up here really quickly. So this is my Freestyle Libre. Okay, and you see right now my blood sugar is 79. And you'll see right in here somewhere, let's see how I get my finger on there. You'll see a spike, and that spike actually came right at about 2 o'clock this morning. That's when I woke up and was talking to some folks about some things that were going on, and I actually broke my fast right in there. Right, so that was what, 69, 70 hours, 69-ish hours. Let me calculate that. And then you see that continues to drop and drop and drop and drop to where we are right now, down into the 80s. Okay, and so that's what my blood sugar is right now. We can't see what it is right now based on the Dexcom, because the Dexcom is warming up. But what we can do is we can go back and we can look at the summary report for the Dexcom. And so here we are at 14 days. Here we are at 30 days. And then here we are at 90 days. And the 90-day version is what we want to do, what we want to look at, because that is where we get our A1C from. Okay, so the A1C is based on a 90-day average. And so here we have 114 with a glucose management indicator of 6.0. And once again, like I mentioned before, we did get blood work, and so we'll take a look to see how that compares to what we've been seeing here on the show. That's a good one. You want to make sure that you catch. That. Okay. All right. And then let's go and let's take a look at what my monitors, my finger sticks, are right now compared, and we'll have to compare it just to the Libre, because as I said, the Dexcom currently is warming up. Okay. So let's go over and let's take a look at that. So here are my 2 monitors. I've got my Keto Mojo and I've got my Clarity. And let's go ahead and grab my container. So here is the strip for blood sugar, strip for ketones, here's the strip for the contour, and then here is my lancet. As you know, I don't use a lancing device, and I know I say that all the time, but just so you know, because sometimes there are people who see me doing that, like, oh, where's the lancing device? Well, I don't use one typically. I shouldn't say typically. I don't use one. I'm trying to remember if I've ever used one other than just learning how each one works, so I can talk to patients about them. I don't usually use them. All right, and so here is the strip for my Keto Mojo. Get that one in here, and here's the strip for my for the ketones. I'm gonna go ahead and open that up so we can have that off to the side, and grab my lancet, open that up, and this is the finger that I've been kind of picking on. So let's go ahead and we're going to do that right there. Okay, ow, and hopefully, yeah, there we got a brisk drop, and let's go ahead and get this one going as well. And so 85 is what the Keto Mojo says right now. 87 for the contour. And if I go back over here, well, let's do this one. 82. So all of them are pretty close to each other right now. And of course, we don't have the Dexcom. All right, so let's get that out, and let's go ahead and let's see what my ketones are. All right, so ketones are, and I'm going to leave that graph up on the screen so you can see what's been going on with blood sugars when I broke the fast, when I ended the fast. And now let's compare that to what my ketones are going to be right now. And hopefully that works because I got a pretty good dollop from that drop. 3, 2, 1, and 0.4. Right, so 0.4. If you remember when we did our show, it was 0.9, I believe. And so 0.4, less than 0.5 considered normal, 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. Okay. And so when we're in a ketogenic diet, ketone mimicking diet, or we are fasting with the intention of getting into ketosis, we want that number to be 0.5 or higher. Okay? Awesome, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and let's say hello to some of our community members. I do see you popping in there. And once again, if you are fasting with us, if you fasted this week, whatever fast you did, whether you did 16, 8, 12, and 12, 48, 72, 24, whatever it is, I want you to drop in the comments, drop the number of hours that you spent in fasting this week, okay? Because we want to give you a shout out. In our community meetup yesterday, one of our community members was telling us about the fasting that had been going on, and I was excited to just give kudos, right, for the journey that she's been on, and the journey really that we've all been on over the course of the time that we've been here together. Okay, so go ahead and I'm just making a change here to some things, but go ahead and drop that in the comments because we want to make sure that we give you some props for that. And also tell us where you are. Tell us where you are joining us from. Let's see, I need to make one more change to that. Yeah, tell us where you're joining us from. There we go. And also the number of hours that you are in the fast right now. So while we do that, let's go ahead and we're going to hop over. We're going to say hi to some of our community members, and I see you out there. Let's see. Let's start with. Okay, here we are. Cornelia. Cornelia says, "Hello, Dr. Woode, LLG. What's going on, Cornelia? We are so excited that you're here. Thank you for coming through and hanging out with us." Jennifer said, "Howdy all." Howdy, Jennifer. What's going on in your world these days? And Cornelia says, "Hi, Jennifer." Cornelia says 16. Okay, so 16 hours of fasting. Love it, love it, love it. Jennifer said, did OMAD on Monday and Tuesday. Today was work. Good day. Too many good things. All right, so too many good things at work. She said work food day. Yeah, we have work food. We got that. And then Cornelia says, Ohio, kudos to your OMAD, Jennifer. Yeah, Jennifer. So let's back up. So Cornelia, congratulations. Congratulations to you, and Jennifer, congratulations to you as well for all that you guys have done this week. That is an amazing process of walking through the fasting, because once again, we're taking charge of our health. We're taking charge of those things that we need to do to be healthy, and it is an interesting process of walking through not just the fasting space, but the space that surrounds us when life is going on, right? Because you've heard me say before, often it is not a desire, or it's not a lack of information. Is that life is happening, and sometimes we get off course. But yeah, congratulations to both of you for what you're doing right now. I've got to do one more thing here, guys, real quickly. All right. So always excited when our community is having good results and are having success in their health. And you've heard me say, as we walk through this week, that it's always a work in progress. So I'm excited for that. So let's go ahead and we're going to listen to our MOVE campaign. Right now, remember, moving is one of the pillars of, it actually encompasses two of the pillars of our health action plan. So let's go ahead and let's look at that right now. Metabolic optimization via exercise, one of those amazing things, places where you can have a tremendous impact on your health. Let's do that right now. Welcome to MOVE, Metabolic Optimization via Exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is MOVE. Let's get started. All right, so we are fasting. And so whenever we talk about fasting, I want to couch fasting in the correct light in your mind. What does that mean? I want you to think of fasting not as a challenging, arduous process that you're going to bear your way through. I want you to think of fasting kind of like you think of your the vacuum at your house, right? The vacuum is simply a thing that fulfills a purpose. It is designed to solve a problem. Now, I remember when we had brooms, right? So you had brooms. I remember when we had the Bissell. You guys remember that thing? I remember when we didn't have a vacuum cleaner. And then, of course, vacuums are now, I remember the guy used to come around. You guys remember vacuum cleaner salesman, right? So there people used to come around and they used to sell stuff. They used to you didn't go online. But the vacuum has evolved, but its function is basically still the same. Your car is designed for a purpose. it takes you from one place to the next. Now, you can use a skateboard, you can use a bicycle, you can use a motorcycle, or you can drive a car, or you can walk, really, right? Because you're going from one place to the other. But the vehicle is designed to take you from one place to the next. It is simply a device that does that. And so fasting is a tool. It is designed to treat or fix or to improve a process. It is not magic. Not at all. It is not the ultimate. For example, I gave you the example of using different vehicles to get from one place to the other. So there are lots of different ways that you can get to your metabolic space that you're looking for. But just like the automobile is a more efficient way of doing it than a motorcycle, which is more efficient than a bicycle, which is more efficient than a skateboard. So fasting is an efficient way of righting the things in your body, of resetting the system so that you are primed and ready to be able to do what you need to do for your health. That's fasting. So if we're going to use fasting as a tool, we want to understand how that tool works. We want to understand what the benefits of the tools are, or the tool is. We want to understand how to prepare for the tool, or prepare to use the tool. How do we do it successfully? And in our case, when we finish using the tool, what do we do then? And so that's where our fasting comes in. And we're really talking about a system. So fasting is a system that we're using as a tool to improve our health. Okay? Now, to fast well, we want to be able to walk through the process. So what we're talking about, how do we fast well? How do we fast on purpose? How do we fast well every time? Because we don't want every single time that you fast for it to be this arduous process that you go through. As you learn to use it, you should be getting better and better and better at it. And you should understand more and more and more about it. Right? It's kind of like your car. You got a new car, and the first couple of weeks, months, and so forth, you're driving, but you're still learning the system. And so after a while, you hop in the car, turn the key, and you're gone. And so that's the space that we want fasting to sit. That's where we want it to sit. And so when we're talking about fasting, there are 3 phases that we're going to talk about. And these really are, if you think about anything that you do, anytime you are in a process, the simplest way to think about or the best way to get success in the process is to have a strategic way of walking through it. And so that's what we're going to be doing as we walk through our fasting right now, is we're talking about how do we get through the fast successfully? What does that look like? Okay? Here we are. And so that's fasting. And so the first one that we wanted to talk about is our setup phase. So fasting preparation. This determines your fasting success. How you prepare determines how you get through the fast, and then certainly how do we get to the end of the fast. If we do it well, then we end up having the best results. When we don't do it well, then we end up with issues, and sometimes fasting is blamed. Fasting is blamed for those issues when it's really not a fasting process, right? It's not a fasting thing. But you get the idea. So preparation, what does that mean? And we went through, we've gone through before doing a check-in. And really preparation for fasting is giving the idea, number one, that the fast actually doesn't begin at time 0. So the moment you stop eating, Some people think that's when I'm starting to fast. Well, that's when you stop eating. But your fasting, actually, your fasting begins way before that, because the preparation that you're doing to get into the fast ultimately has an impact on the fast. And we've talked about a lot of different things, but I want to go through a couple here quickly in a little bit more detail. And it has to do, one, with our physical preparation. And notice I've in that phrase, physical preparation, there's a whole lot that's encompassed in there. Everything from rest, everything from activity, how we sleep, all of that is encompassed in physical. And so, as you are thinking about fasting, as you're preparing for fasting, fasting is designed to help the body, but there are some things that we can do with the body that actually takes us in a better direction of fasting. And we're going to start with one that sometimes we've actually told people we don't want you to do this. And that is exercise. When we fast, the tendency, actually when we do anything, the tendency is to say, hey, if this works, if I amp it up, then I get better results. That's not the case with fasting. However, you think about your body, the muscles in your body burn calories. And so people will say, hey, if I'm fasting and not putting calories in, if I go do an intense workout, then I'm actually hitting it from two different angles. That is true, except that when you are exercising, if you are not used to it, if you're not used to it and you go out and you start doing strenuous exercising, then you're actually short-circuiting the process, because what begins happening is your body sees that as a stress, and stress requires cortisol. Cortisol finds sugar, and sugar causes a spike, and the spike causes insulin, and insulin dysregulates fasting. Notice the progression. So if you are not exercising right now, if you don't have an exercise routine, when you start fasting, that's not the time to go get a gym membership and spend 2 hours a day, 4 or 5 times a week at the gym. That actually inhibits the process. Now, if that's what you normally do, if you're at the gym and you are working out and that is your normal process, that is now beneficial when you start fasting. Right? That's the whole idea of the fasting workout. And I'll come back to that here in just a minute. But if that's not your normal process, then this is not the time to start it. In fact, if you are going to do anything during fasting, what you want to do is you want to begin doing light activity. What does that mean? That means walking. That means stretching. That means something like yoga or Tai Chi, where it's slow, deliberate, low-intensity movements. Now that helps. It doesn't put the body in a stressful environment, and so we don't have the spike in cortisol. So for preparation, for the physical, for movement, we want you to do light activity. In fact, I want you to do that. The other stuff, right, we go to the gym and you're running and you're carrying on and you're lifting, that's not what we want you to do when you're fasting. So light activity, light walking, stretching, yoga, right, those types of things, that's good. Now, I said I'll come back to the fasting workouts, and let's talk about that. So during fasting, growth hormone goes up. And growth hormone is that thing that's responsible for helping to maintain muscle mass. One of the things that people are concerned about when they have, when they're fasting, they say, I'm going to lose muscle mass. And actually, right? Let's be honest, you are going to lose muscle mass. It is not possible to lose weight without losing muscle mass. So don't let anybody convince you that you can do this thing to maintain all of your muscle. No, you're going to lose some. What the trick is, we want to lose more fat weight than we lose muscle weight. But you're going to lose some. And so the fasting workouts is a way, or some people do, for maintenance of muscle mass. In fact, some people do that to build more muscles, because when growth hormone comes out, those muscles recover faster. During those times when, between workouts, the recovery time, that's actually when muscles get built. During the workout, actually, you're tearing muscles apart. And during the recovery is when the muscles get built. And during that process, if you've been fasting, you get a surge of growth hormone, and that helps to get better recovery, faster recovery, and to help maintain those muscles. So during fasting, don't plan to go out and do start your marathon training. If you're doing a fasting workout, then you can continue that intensity because it's actually preserving muscles. But for everyone else, as you're beginning fasting, you want to begin implementing a low impact, light exercising. And you want to start doing that, not time zero. You want to start doing that the week before you're going to do your fast. And then as you get into the fast, as you do fasting over and over and over, then you will have that now incorporated into your fasting schedule, and it doesn't become a big deal. Because at some point, we're going to want you to begin amping up what you do. But that's not the place to start when you're first starting fasting, or if you don't have a regular routine workout, this is not the place for that. Okay, so physical. Number 2, in terms of the physical, is your rest. The body recuperates, it regenerates, it assimilates while you're sleeping. If you are not resting, you are wasting some of the benefit of your fast. Come on. I'm just going to say it. If you're fasting, you're getting amazing benefits. Lots of changes are going on in the body. But if you are not resting, you're not getting the full effect of those changes. Because your hormones are regulated during fasting. Your muscles begin recovering during fasting. Insulin decreases during fasting. So insulin resistance drops during sleep. Let me say that again. So hormones regulate during sleep. Muscles recover during sleep. Yeah. And when we're not resting, when we're not sleeping, then that blunts or that short circuits the things that we say we want. Yeah. So we don't want to do that. We don't want to short circuit anything. We want the full benefit. We want the full benefit of everything. Okay? So 1, activity, light activity. Number 2, rest. And we recommend at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I'm going to just pause there because I know some of you are like, oh, well, how am I in the world going to get 7 to 8 hours? 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Do you know if you don't rest well, it's been shown that your reaction time can approach that of someone who's intoxicated? Your thought process is blunted. Your energy is blunted. Your response time is blunted. And so we don't want any of that. And on top of that, because the changes that are going on in your body are supercharged during rest, if we're not resting, then we run into difficulty. Okay? All right, so number one is our setup. The setup is important. Fasting preparation determines fasting success. And number 2 is the steady zone. This is where structure replaces struggle. The structure of your body replaces struggle. And the high concept here is that your body is primed. Your body is designed to heal. I want you to hear me. Your body's goal is to keep you alive. Everything that it does is with that intention. Now, some of you are watching and say, wait a minute, my body's been fighting against me. No, it's not been fighting against you. There are things that affect the body that make the body working in a way that it's not designed to work. But at its base, the body is designed to heal. In fact, when we talk about this word homeostasis, homeostasis is the process of keeping sameness. For example, and let's use one that we talk about all the time, blood sugars. When your blood sugar begins rising, your body produces a hormone that brings that down. And as long as the blood sugar keeps rising, the body keeps producing the hormone. And that's why for billions of people on the planet, they're eating cookies, candies, cakes, they're eating loads of pasta, drinking lots of sodas, drinking lots of juice, and their blood sugar is still normal when they go to their doctor. Why? Because the body is remaining or keeping things stable. That's what the body does. When you don't drink enough water, your kidneys retain fluid to keep you hydrated. You go out in the desert and you haven't had anything to drink for a while. The body decreases the production of urine so that it can retain the fluid because its goal is to keep you alive. When you drink too much water, if there's such a thing, most of us don't do that. The body increases the production of urine to get rid of the fluid because its goal is to keep you within a certain space. So if we can give the body space, if we can give it what it needs, time, the body will begin to heal. And so when we start fasting, the body initially sees that actually as a stress. So your cortisol level goes up. And it sees it as a stress because most of us, unless we've been doing the fasting for not just a long time. Yes, if we've been doing on a scheduled, structured rhythm, most of us don't eat as simply as the body the body sees. So when you stop eating, the body's like not sure. It's like, well, are we getting some more food? I'm not quite sure. Let's go ahead and let's retain some of the food. Let's go ahead and let's decrease our metabolism. Let's go ahead and let's cause our cortisol to go up so that we go out and get more energy. But once it realizes that you are this is fasting, this is what we're doing. This is what we do now. It's not like 6 hours from now we're going to get some more food. This is it. That cortisol level actually begins going down. The cortisol goes down. When that goes down, the blood sugar comes down. And we're not putting any food in, so all of the mechanisms in the body don't have to spend time processing the food that you're continuing to put in. What it's doing at this point is it's burning up the calories and the food that you already have given it. It takes 24 to 36 hours, somewhere in there, for the body to use up the glycogen that's in the liver. So when you eat today, the food that you eat today, the carbs that you eat today, they don't go away for the next 24 to 36 hours. And so when you put more in, what has to happen? The body has to figure out quickly what to do with the excess. Think of being at your house, right? Think of being at your house. And we had, in our yard, we bought some mulch. And I was excited because we went down to a local place. Because usually I go and get the bags, right? And this summer, well, it was spring at the time, getting ready for get into the season. And I went down to this place, and the guy's like, we're having a sale on mulch. And I'm like, good, good quality stuff, right? And I said, what's the sale? And I forgot what the price was, but he said, you see that dump truck? You get all of that. And I just lost my mind, y'all. My wife came on, she was like, what in the world is going on? Right, because the dump truck came to the house. And first of all, I hadn't figured out where I was going to put it. Okay? So it ended up on the driveway, so it stained our driveway. Anyway, that's another story. So the guy comes in, and he's dumping this mulch on the driveway. I was like, yeah, put it right here. I put a tarp down, but it was so much that it overflowed. So he said he's dumping it out, and it just kept coming. Because I was like, okay, is that it? He's like, no, there's more. It's the whole truck. And sometimes that's what it feels like to the body. We just keep putting stuff in. And the body's like, I still haven't figured out, not figured out. I still haven't dealt with the stuff you put in the last time. So when we give the body space, then the body's able to do what it needs to do to regulate itself. Okay, so number one, cortisol. So during fasting, cortisol comes down. When cortisol comes down, then we are not as anxious. Our blood sugars begin decreasing. We're not as insulin resistant, meaning that the body is able to use the insulin that we have on board more effectively. As a result of that, the body doesn't have to make excess insulin. Boom, let's pause right here. Hyperinsulinemia, that is too much, an elevated amount of insulin is the underlying problem with a lot of our metabolic dysfunction. It is not that insulin is the problem. It is the excess insulin that's the problem. Going back to my example a little while ago, I said, when you go to your doctor and the doctor says that your blood sugars are good, your A1C is in target, we get excited. Because we're told that we're pre-diabetic, or sometimes we say you're not even pre-diabetic, you're in the normal range. Okay? Now, I want you to think about the things that you eat. Pause for a minute. I want you to do an evaluation of the things that you eat. I want you to think about the carbs that you're eating. I want you to think about the sugar that you're eating. I want you to think about the drinks that you drink. Whatever it is. And now I have a question for you. If you're eating and drinking that, how in the world is my blood sugar normal? How in the world is my A1C still in the normal range? And the reason it is because the body is producing insulin to keep the blood sugar normal, which is an amazing thing. But it is producing an abnormally high amount of insulin. And eventually, that's where the problem comes. It's not that the body kept it normal that's the issue. It is the abnormal amount of insulin that it's continually having to produce. So when we're fasting and we've dealt with the cortisol, we've dealt with the insulin resistance, our body can decrease the amount of insulin that it produces, so that those downstream issues that we talk about, they begin going away, or at least begin improving. We've already said that growth hormone comes out during fasting. And when growth hormone comes out, it helps to build muscle. It helps to retain muscle. It helps muscles to become recover better and faster. And metabolically active muscles are a gold mine, because metabolically active muscles do not require insulin to burn sugar. Come on. So once again, we notice that because of what we're doing, our body doesn't require as much insulin to function. And we are, even in that phase, reducing the amount of insulin that's in our body. When insulin goes down, our satiety and our hunger hormones become better regulated, because high insulin disrupts ghrelin and interferes with leptin. Those are the hunger and the satiety hormone. When ghrelin goes up, it says, hey, go eat. When leptin goes down, it says, go eat. And so when insulin decreases, then the ghrelin says, okay, we're good. And the leptin says, we're good. All that happens during fasting. So there's this symphony of hormones that's going on. So that's the physiology. Now, how do we get through the process? Because we will feel changes. Because at 24, 36 hours, the body is changing over. Or even, let's go before then. Right? Walk through that process. So you stop eating, and it's now 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours. You're used to eating again. And I've had people say to me, how do I get through that process? Because my brain is going to want to eat. And we talk about it, right? So habits. And I've had people say, yeah, well, okay, I understand that it's a habit. I grant that. And I'm working on breaking the habit, but how do I get through it right now? And we get through it right now by doing some simple things. First of all, acknowledging it. I'm hungry. I feel like I have to eat. It feels urgent. It feels like if I don't eat, I'm going to die. I'm getting a headache. My heart rate's going up. I feel dizzy. I feel light. I got to get something to eat. Number one, acknowledging it. And acknowledging it says, not that, okay, this is a real thing. I say, okay, this is happening. I'm going to go get something to eat. But this is not true hunger. Now, the first time you probably get something to eat. The second time you probably get something to eat. The third time you probably get something to eat. But eventually your brain will begin processing and say, wait a minute. I just ate 2 hours ago. My weight is already 20, 30, 40 points, 40 pounds above where I need to be. There's no reason that I don't have enough energy in my body to sustain me for the next 6 hours. Right? So you're processing. Number one, acknowledge. Number two, understanding what's going on. It is not an urgent. It is not an emergency. It is not that you're going to die. It is that we're used to it. We've gotten used to the dopamine hit. We've gotten used to having something in our stomach. We've gotten used to the stretch. We've gotten used to the security that the food brings. So acknowledge, understand. And then number three is do something different. Move a muscle, change a thought. Some light exercise, light walking. Get up, move from where you are. Don't tell yourself, okay, I've got to not eat for the next 12 hours. I just have to not eat for this moment. I can come back and eat in a minute, but for right now, I'm not going to eat. Let me go walk. Let me go to get something to drink. Let me go distract myself. Let me, and I love drinking, I love carbonated stuff. Yep. So I drink a lot of zero sugar beverages. Whole nother conversation. Because it gives me the burn, it gives me the taste, it helps to the bubbles fill my stomach. I get the stretch. So the goal is to do things that will help you through the process. So we're not fighting it. Understand that it's going to come. It's happening. Even if you've been fasting for a long time, it's going to come because it's a habit. But what structure do I put in place to kind of get me through that, right? So that's that process. How do I get through that? The next thing is to make sure that you're hydrated. Make sure that you are drinking enough coming into the fast. Once again, going back to the preparation, coming into the fast, so that during the fast, you're not mistaking dehydration for hunger. Because if we do that, then we're going to go get something to eat. Number 3 is making sure that you have done a good job in your eating window in terms of nutrition, so that during your fasting window, your body's not craving. Now, when I talk about doing a good job in your eating window, I'm not talking about calorie-dense foods. We're talking about, are you doing a good job of nutrient-dense foods? Enough food with iron, with enough fiber, food with enough vitamins and minerals. Are you doing a good job with that in your eating window so that during the fasting window, it doesn't become a problem? And then the mindset of fasting, which is why I started with the setup for fasting. Fasting is simply a tool. That's all. It's a tool I'm going to use. A tool I'm going to use to fix a particular problem. Now, it's a tool. It's not magic. I'm going to use it, so I am making the decision. Nobody's forcing me to do it. And I'm getting a result from it. If you walk through that process continually in your mind, you will begin seeing fasting in a different light than you may right now. Because sometimes we see fasting as this arduous, I'm being forced to do. Nobody's forcing you. It's just like the hammer. When something falls off the wall, I run out and I get a hammer. I'm not mad at the hammer. I might be mad at the wall or whatever happened for the wall. But the hammer I could use it. I don't have to use it. But I get the hammer, I put the stuff back, and then I'm done. So the mindset with which you come to fasting, very, very, very important. And then, so that's the second phase. And then our third phase is the break phase. So refeeding completes the metabolic loop. So we prepared for it, we walked our way through it, and now we're at the end of the fast, and we're going to refeed. And here, a couple of points. Number 1 point that I want you to get is that refeeding or eating at the end of the fast is not a sigh of relief. Pause for effect. This is not just, oh my God, yeah, man, I finally got through that fast. That's not the posture. Because the end of the fast is simply a end of a phase of your health journey. Right? That's the concept that you want. It is a cyclical journey that you're on. And as you continue from one phase to the next phase, it's not that, okay, that phase was better than this phase, and oh my God, I'm so glad I got through that one because now I could do this other stuff over here. The end of the fast is simply the entrance to another part of your health. And the way that we end the fast is important, okay? When we are in the fast, we want to anticipate what we're doing when we get out of the fast. So begin planning what you're going to eat. Actually, when you start planning the fast itself, you should plan what you're eating, not just to end the beginning of the fast, but also what I'm eating to end the fast. Because preparation. Otherwise, we are relying on our motivation. We're more relying on how I feel at the time for the food I'm going to eat. And that's not where you want to be. You want to prepare for that. I'm not going to talk here about our default meal, but that is a concept that you want to make sure that you get ingrained in yourself. What is my default meal? What is the thing that I'm going to be able to create wherever I am? It doesn't matter where I go, who I'm with, whatever restaurant, whatever place. I have a concept of what my default meal is, and I'm preparing my meal as close as possible to that. Notice I said as close as possible to that. So when we talk about our meal, the meal that we eat to end the fast is just like the meal that we eat to start the fast. Is just like the meal we eat when we're not in a fast. Isn't that cool? You don't have to process. You don't have to think. It's the same thing, which is why I say that the breaking of the fast is simply a continuation. It's another phase of what we've been doing. So we're going to prioritize our food. Whole foods. Minimize the processing. We're going to make sure that we're not having any excess added sugar. Lean protein. Healthy fats. Starchy and non-starchy vegetables, leaning more towards the non-starchy vegetables. Appropriate portion size. And make sure that it's tasty and it's flavorful. The food that we eat at the end of the fast sets us up for success during our non-fasting window. The thing that you eat when you first break the fast is going to be the thing that you probably crave for the next 12, 36 hours. If it's highly sugary, then you're right there causing spikes in blood sugar. Spike in blood sugar causes insulin to come out. Insulin dysregulates metabolism. Insulin puts on weight, stimulates your appetite, and it dysregulates the hormones once again. So you want to make sure that you're doing in the breaking of the fast the things that help you sustain the benefits and not undo what you did while you were in the fast. So once again, whole foods. Foods as close as possible to when they were grown or made. Whole foods. Minimize processing. So if you have a choice, something in a can or something off the shelf, well, not off the shelf, but in the produce section, yeah, that's what we want. No added sugar. You can go to the store, you can buy some orange juice that's in a carton that says, 15 grams of carbs per serving, no added sugar. Right next to it is something that says 15 grams per serving with 4 grams of added sugar. You want to get the one that does not have the added sugar. Notice, we're not saying that you can't drink orange juice or apple juice or whatever your juice is, but we want the one without the added sugar. Lean protein and healthy fats. Lean protein. Protein, when you eat protein, it helps by producing something in the body called protein YY. Protein YY slows the GI tract. It sends a signal to the brain that you are full. So protein, great to include in that meal. Healthy fats. When you eat fats, they help the body produce something called cholecystokinin. Once again, slows the GI tract, keeps you fuller longer, and also helps to send a signal to the brain that says, I'm full. So it helps to maintain your satiety as you are getting into the eating window. starchy and non-starchy vegetables. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to decrease the spike in sugar. Non-starchy vegetables tend to have more fiber. The fiber helps to blunt the absorption of carbohydrates, makes you feel fuller longer, makes your body, makes your stomach stretch, so that the signal goes to the brain, hey, I'm full. Portion control. Often it's not that we're eating the wrong thing, but we're eating too much. Like, man, that's good, so I'm going to eat the whole package. I'm raising my hand because I do that. Oh, they say this is good, so come on, let's get with it. Well, portions. We went to, we were in Paris sometime earlier. Trying to think of the month. But anyway, we were in Paris. I went to a restaurant, and we sat at the restaurant. It was a good restaurant. We paid a lot of money. And I got up my plate. And I looked at the plate, and I thought to myself, whoa, where is the rest of the food? Because I'm so used to the portion that we're used to. So portion sizes. Make sure you're eating portion sizes properly. And then you make sure it's tasty and flavorful, y'all. Make sure that the food tastes good, because I've had some food that they said was healthy, and I tasted it, and I'm like, man, if this is the healthy food, yeah, I'm not sure if I want to eat this. Because your brain is going to revolt. Now, there's a whole, and we did, a while ago, something called Sugar Busters. That's a course that we did, a session that we did, 15 days. It takes about 15 to 20 days to change the palate. So it is possible to change what your, how your palate, your taste buds, it is possible. But make it tasty, make it flavorful. And then eat slowly. At the end of the fast, don't just gobble everything up. It takes 20 minutes for the signal to get from your brain, from your stomach to your brain that you're full. When you eat fast, what you're doing is you're short-circuiting that, because you end up eating more before the signal gets there. And by the time the signal gets there, you've already eaten 2 to 3 times what you should have and would have eaten. So take your time. So 3 phases. And that's it. The setup, the stability, and then we break it. And I want to talk a little bit about the inner design loop. The inner design loop is our vehicle. It is the arm of change. It is the thing that allows you to process and evaluate and decide whether you need to do something different. Anchor, align, and adapt. Anchor says, what's working? What was it that helped me during this process? What is it that helped me feel stable? That's why I'm gonna hold on to that. That's my thing. Maybe sleeping, maybe it's hydration, maybe it's a mantra, maybe it's community. What's the thing that's helping me stay stable or feel stable? I'm hanging on to that right now. And then align. Are my behaviors and my decisions consistent with where I say I want to be? You heard me say, so you can show up fully for your family, for your friends, for your dreams. Are the decisions I'm making right now going to take me in that direction? And then we adapt, meaning that we've got to be reflective, meaning we've got to be, we have to be able to understand ourselves. We have to be mindful. We have to have some emotional intelligence. What is my body telling me? What are the things that push my buttons? What are some of my triggers? How do I deal with that relationship or that conversation? Are there things that I've got to learn? Are there tools that I've got to go get so that I can know where I am? And then, what is one thing that I can do, a micro change? What is one thing I can do to help me be more successful the next time? That's the inner design loop. And so remember, fasting is a tool, but is a system. We've just learned a system. Structure turns discipline into design. And we are designing the life. We're not trying to bump into the life or just find our way into life or dream our way into life or stumble into the life. We are designing it. And when we do that, we are becoming and we are doing the things we need to do. So we design the life, we build the health, and we live a limitless life. You want to make sure that you continue to understand, continue to grow in fasting. We'll continue going through this and continuing to understand more and more what this amazing tool is. Join us the next time. All right, and so let's go ahead and let's look at what my meal, my breaking the fast meal looks like. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's look at that right now. And so here I have, and this is a salad, right? Salad that I've created. Let me get this off this side here really quickly. There you go. A salad that I've created. And so what we have in here, I've got my standard jerk chicken. I've got some black beans. Under here, I've got red cabbage. I've got tomatoes. Here are my chunks of cucumber and some red onions. Now, what I don't have here, I thought I brought it in, was I thought I had some cheese, but I don't have it. But that's okay. All right, so let's walk through this again as we talk about balanced bites. And actually, let me bring this over because let me do something here really quick. Yeah. So this is the salad dressing that I have, and this is a combination. I'll tell you a little bit about it here in a minute. Okay, but for now, let me take that off the screen. So whole foods, and everything that you see on this plate right here, whole foods. There's no non-whole food here. So, and because there's no cheese on it. If there were cheese, then there would be some non-whole food things over there, right? So whole foods, minimize processing, and the only thing that's processed here is the beans are from a can. The black beans are from a can. Everything else is non-processed. We've got lean protein. Sorry, minimize sugar. So once again, nothing here has sugar in it. Lean protein and healthy fats. So I've got chicken. I've got beans are my protein, and right now, in terms of fat, would be from the chicken, right? So nothing else on there. Starchy and non-starchy vegetables, and there is no starchy vegetable on the plate. We've got cabbage, we've got the tomato, not tomatoes, we've got the red onions, we've got the cucumber, and we have the carrots. Tasty and flavorful. I've not tasted it yet, but y'all, I'm anticipating it with a vengeance right now. And then portion controlled. And this is an appropriate portion. Now, I'm going to add, and those I deliberately left this out. So here is some non-processed, this is some processed stuff, right? So this is a combination of four different salad dressings. So there's a restaurant here in town that makes two of my favorite salad dressings. They make a horseradish and a Parmesan ranch. And so I have a dollop of each of those in here. And then one of our community members turned me on to a salad dressing. If you go back and watch this, this is several months ago. So I've been continuing to buy that. And so it's a vinaigrette. So there's probably a teaspoon of that in here. And then there is a buttermilk ranch that I like. So anyway, so the combination of those is what I have in the right here. And so we're just gonna drizzle some of that here. I know. Okay, so a serving, they tell me, is 2 teaspoons. Okay, do you think that's enough right there? Okay, I'm gonna stop. And then let's go ahead. I'm gonna jump in and get a taste of this. Yep. Remember I was talking about that flavorful? Yep, it is flavorful. Delicious. Oh, that one doesn't want to come by itself, so I guess I'll eat more. Now, I updated my jerk chicken recipe recently. So I'm going to add that somewhere so you guys can get that. And of course, we may do a show. We've done shows before where I showed you the cooking part. Keep an eye out for more of those. Delicious. And I love salads because the salad has the fiber. It has all the different flavors, the different textures. There's the crunchy. There's the soft. Some firm. We got the savory in there. A little bit of sweetness from those carrots. And then the red onions that gives just almost a slight burn. I guess is what I call it. Those of you who are food connoisseurs out there, what's that called? Very good. Okay, a couple more bites and then we'll go. So, what are you using to either start your fast or break the fast? Drop that in the comments. So what are you breaking the fast with? What are you starting the fast with? Yeah. Okay, I'll stop there. All right. So one of the big things that you hear me say all the time is that I teach in a certain way. Whenever I'm talking, I think in three words: educate, empower, and encourage. We educate with the shows, we educate with the blogs, we educate with the with all the things that we're doing here, right? We educate, we empower with the tools that you're learning, and we encourage with the community that you're part of. And it has been an amazing process. We continue to see amazing results personally as well, and with what you're doing, right? Because I get those messages, I get those in our community meetups. We hear people talking about the benefits that they're getting, and not just in the metabolism, but in so many other areas in terms of the domains of health. So I want to make sure that you are continuing to work through that process. When you show up, when you come, I want you to become an ambassador for health. There are people in your community, there are people at your church, at your job, who need to understand how their body works so that they can get the benefits that you're seeing. So when you're improving, don't keep that to yourself. Let other people know. Let them know that they can do something different, that they can also have those benefits. Okay? So make sure that you're doing that. And when you come, tell your story. Tell the successes that you're having, as well as tell us where you're having some challenges. We want to know. This community is a no judgment place because we're all walking the path together. We might be playing our own game in our series, but we're heading in the same direction. Long, healthy life is the goal. And so that's what we do here on the channel. And as we continue walking through the rest of this week, we've got our video from the vault tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central. We've got This Week in Review on Sunday morning at 6 a.m. And then we've got DwainWoodeMD Live coming up on Monday. And this is going to be our final episode for the season. Okay, final episodes for the season. Come on by, hang out with us. We will be back. After that, our next show will be on the 5th of January as our first show for the year. That may change because we've got some things going on that may push that back for a week, but it'll be either the 5th or the next week. Make sure you come out now to do that. In the interim, there will be something here on the channel, so come on out. It's not going to be live. Come on out and engage and become a part of that. One of the things that I started doing this last night that I want to put up for you is we do the teaching here. We do the teaching out in public. Some people want some more introspective work that they can do on their own, in quiet, in a group. And on our site, on our website, you'll see some changes there. WoodeLifeDesign.com, WoodeLifeDesign.com. If you scan the QR code that you'll see there on the left, then you will be getting some weekly insights and updates, right? Some structure, some clarity, some consistency. This is not designed to bomb your inbox or to put spam in your inbox. It is just simply something that you get on a weekly basis where you can begin walking through this path, sharing with your family, and in the quiet of your own home, in the quiet of your space, you can begin that journey that we are doing here. You can continue the journey that we're doing here. And then on the right side, you'll see another QR code. I am always interested in how to improve, how to get better, and you'll see that there. And we would appreciate you scanning that and giving us any information that you can to help us shape the future of what we do here on the channel. Okay, when you do go there, make sure that you put the show that you are watching. If you're doing this on the replay or if you're doing it here on the live, we appreciate all of that you do. Okay. And we are glad that I am glad that I get a chance to walk along with you in this space to see the successes that you're having. And always, you help to inform me and you help to make me grow. So thank you for the honor of doing that. We'll see you as we move through the rest of the week. We'll see you next week. Hey, this is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Woode with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, and go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. I want you to have the success in your life here in health as you're having in all the other areas. So you can show up fully for all those important events and important people in your life, your family, your friends, your community, and so you can begin enjoying the dreams that you've been pouring into. Remember, you don't need superhuman strength. What you need is a strategy you can trust. You need a plan you can follow, and you need the support and the determination to keep showing up every single time. We'll see you later. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you as we move through the rest of the week. Let's go ahead and we're going to listen to that MOVE campaign one more time, and we'll see you in the space. Bye-bye, everybody. Welcome to MOVE, Metabolic Optimization via Exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is MOVE. Let's get started.